Mhm. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to today's session. So, how are you doing? I hope you're all right. I hope you've been having a very great day so far. So, first of all, apologies for the minutes or two. Right now, we are very happy to have you in today's session. Right now, we are very I'm not going to be alone for today's session to comment it. I'm going to do so with Rachel, and Rachel has a word or two before we dive deeper into this topic. Thanks, Rachel, for being around. Welcome to you. You have the floor.
Thank you, Lorraine. It's always nice to have you and Beryl and the rest of Impact Our team. This is our last session that covers mainly on Google's Grow with Google. And it has been great. The 8th session ends today. After today, we will then start learning about the meta platforms, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook. Then thereafter, we look at support services like logistics, branding, payment options for small businesses that are going online. This is to prepare you for the Shop at Small Business campaign in December. So, welcome to today's session. This is the climax of the entire training. Staying productive online. I look forward to this, Lorraine and Beryl. This will be great because all we've been learning for the last 7 weeks is just how to get online. And today we are learning then how to be productive once we get online. So looking forward to today's session, and back to you, Lorraine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for that introduction. It was very awesome. I hope you're all ready. Now we're going to just thank Rachel and then give her time to make sure everything at the back end works out smoothly. Thank you so much, Rachel. And if anything, you would have the floor. Okay, now let's start with today's session. Like Rachel earlier mentioned, my name is Lorianne and I am a trainer with Impact Her. And I'm joining you from a very wonderful country in Central Africa known Cameroon. See, it's an awesome country. One day you might discover. Okay, so like she said too, we have actually been covering why it should be online, right? Because the very first topic was build your brand and sell online. So this whole topic was like an introduction to the online sphere and giving you technical know-hows, step-by-step actions to take, and why it's all important about the online sphere. We had now tactical courses that make you get to action, to show you some tools that you can use online. When we talked about the Google Workspace, when we talked about the Google Business Profile and all, we how you can use strategies and plans to actually make sure that you benefit from the online sphere. So today we are concluding it with the last topic. Today is the last session of the very 8 sessions that we've been covering throughout, and we are talking about staying productive online. Now, it's very important that when you're on the online sphere, even if you're working, if you're owning a business, there's some little tips and tricks that you should know that will actually help you benefit from the online sphere, right? Very important and very crucial. That's why we have this topic, staying productive online. Now, I introduce myself. I introduce Rachel introduced herself. I am very sorry I did not introduce my awesome colleagues. And the very first colleague that is here is Beryl. She's actually going to be moderating this session. She's going to make sure that it runs out very smoothly. You can answer any question. She's going to answer all of those questions, right? So Beryl is in the comment section. Now let's dive deeper with what we are covering, like what's today's agenda. The very first point that we'll be looking at is how do you set up your remote office? How do you build a productive work environment would be the second point, and how do you manage and maintain your well-being. So this is what we are covering today. But as we move forward, it's very, very, very awesome that I say hi to everybody on the call. So let me start that right away. First of all, going to say hi to the very first person, Dorel. Hey, and welcome. That was so great. You were like the first person on today's call. It's very, very awesome to have you today. We hope you've had a very good day because I know it's evening in Kenya. Hope you've had a very, very good day. Oh, Alois, actually. Right. So, my name is Lilian, and you've met Beryl already. Okay. So, welcome, Diane. Hi, Patrice. Hi, Christopher. Welcome, welcome, welcome to everybody. So, we're live, and if we haven't yet told everybody that the call is on, please let's do well to take the link and share. Let's notify in the group chat via email every single thing that can permit everybody to know we are already live, right? Let us notify everybody that we're live and we're having the concluding session. So while you're here, do well to let me know how have been the eight sessions so far, what have been your key takeaways. Like that will keep very, very busy in the comment section. So how have been the eight sessions, what have been your key takeaways, what have you decided to apply, what have you done so far. That would be also awesome to know. Okay, so let's dive deeper. Like I mentioned, today we're covering staying productive online. And first point is we're going to see how you can set up a remote office. Second point, how to build a productive work environment. And the third point would be how to manage and maintain your well-being. Now, like you already know, Google is offering a free bootcamp. A free bootcamp which is available for small business owners known as the Hustle Academy Bootcamp. It's a very awesome training session where you're going to learn a lot about scaling your business in various aspects from business strategy to a lot of aspects. So it will be a very interesting bootcamp, and you're all encouraged to participate in this bootcamp. Beryl is going to drop the link in the comments section for you to be able to participate for the Hustle Academy Bootcamp. So do well to sign up for this bootcamp, and at the appropriate moment, you would receive the email that will take you further, right? So let us continue. 19 impacted. How has COVID-19 impacted your role? Now, it's clear that COVID-19 has been a very key part of our lives since 20 our lives. Now, I'd like everybody to tell me how COVID-19 has impacted their role. You know, what did it bring to you? What happened? Did you lose your job? Did you not lose your job? What were the changes, right? What were the changes that COVID-19 brought to your role? I'm already going to the comment section to read your various comments. Hi, Adasa, you are welcome. Please do not forget to sign up for the Hustle Academy Bootcamp. Now, second thing, please tell us how has COVID-19 impacted your role? Adasa, tell us. Christopher, tell us. Alois, tell us. Patrice, Diana, tell us. What have been your key takeaways? And everybody that is shy to introduce themselves, right? Please tell us. How has COVID-19 impacted your role? What have been your key takeaways so far with the COVID-19 pandemic? I'm waiting for all those responses in the comment section. How has COVID-19 impacted your role? We're asking this because we're talking about staying productive online. And you know, one of the major points or the major outcomes of COVID-19 has been the online sphere, right? So it's now important that we know how did it impact you, okay? How did it impact you? Was it positive? Was it negative? Let us know. Let's know, please. Okay, thanks so much, Agatha. That's clear. The pandemic made us to understand that most of the things can be handled online. So a lot of contact was reduced with the clients. Okay, but was it bad? Was it good? And I'm very happy that you learned a new way. You learned how to Zoom. You learned how to Google Meet, right? I'm sure these are the things that you did while you were not able to have physical contact with your clients. Another person to let us know how COVID-19 has impacted his or her role. What were your challenges or what were the advantages brought forth by COVID-19? Of course, Patrice. Good thing is, je peux parler français, so you can write in French. Welcome, Musili George William Elliot. You are very welcome. How are you doing today? We are very happy to have you. So today's topic is staying productive online. And after looking at the agenda, we have a question for everybody. How has COVID-19 impacted your role? So Patrice Doa, listening to you or waiting on you. Anybody else? Yeah, Aloysius says COVID-19 impacted me both negatively and positively. Negatively in that I had to shut down my physical presence, and positively in that I had to go to learn the online space through learning the awesome. I'm happy that you could see the benefits. I'm happy that you could see the benefits, okay? Like, I know it wasn't easy to get to the new normal, right? Which is the online sphere and everything that it had to bring. It wasn't easy for a lot of people. People lost their jobs, but you see, you have an advantage that now, down to the online sphere, you can think about having clients everywhere, okay? And now, COVID is over, but well, almost. So, or rather, we're trying to live with COVID so you can have your physical shop. So I guess it was good because I learned more about digital contact. It improved my skill, right? That's what Adessa said, and that's nice. So Patrice, merci. Covid a durement impacté mon business. Je produis du rhum au Cameroun et tous les lieux de consommation étaient fermés. Ah là là, désolé Patrice. Alors, Patrice just said COVID-19 adversely impacted his business because he produces rum in Cameroon. But due to the pandemic, every area was shut down. So I'm going to answer Patrice in English so that everybody can understand. So sorry about that, Patrice. I really know, being your fellow countrymen, I know that most of the areas were shut down for a bit, and this made things a little bit slowed down, but happily things are back, okay? And Patrice, I hope that you're going to know how to, you're going to know how to use the online sphere like you just wrote so that you can benefit from it. Now, thanks so much for the responses. Let's move forward. Let's talk about how you can set up your remote office. What does it mean and how can you do it? First of all, you need to know that remote working is a working lifestyle that allows professionals to work outside of a traditional office environment, okay? So it simply means that remote working is where you work, but you must not necessarily be in your office, okay? Also, it is based on the concept that work does not need to be done in a specific place to be executed successfully, not that work should be done only from home. Okay, So remote working actually entails everywhere that you work and that you're productive, even if it's not from an office. This is it when we're talking about remote working. Now, where can you work from when you're working remotely? So, for some employees, it's working from home. That's the best option, giving them more time or more flexibility with their whole lives. With other people, it's working from a coffee shop. This is something that I personally love. Okay, coffee shops or other public spaces such as bars, cafes, and restaurants, and it boosts productivity. Why? In the sense that sometimes you can see other people, and when you see other people working, it boosts your morale. It helps you know that you're not alone in that sphere, and then you are more productive given the space and the air, and you equally have a good cup of coffee. Also, you can work in a co-working space. So co-working space are also a very great option. You can even have a dedicated office when you are in a co-working space, like a dedicated office. But you should equally, okay, is it better now? Please let me know better. Is it better? Okay, so your co-working space, like I mentioned, is a very great option, right? Because it gives you not only the community space, but you can equally have the option of having a particular office space just for your work. You can have an individual office, but co-working spaces require some money. There's also the library, okay? And the library is very ideal. That is if and only if you do not need to make phone calls, pick up trainings, because obviously you're going to be disturbing other persons. Now, if you have to answer the question, what do you need to work remotely? What would you say? What do you need to work remotely? What do you need to work remotely? What do you need to work remotely? While you drop your responses as per what you need to work remotely, I'm just going to give you some few tips and tricks. The very first thing you will need to work remotely is a dedicated workspace. It's very important and primordial that you have a particular space set up just from work where you actually separate home from work. The second point that you would need is your devices. You actually need the adequate technologies that will help you connect, collaborate, and work remotely. If you don't have good devices working remotely, it's going to be very tedious for you. Trust me, because you need devices that have the capacity to keep you online and to do a lot of work while being connected very, very frequently. Okay, you equally need mainly an internet connection, and not only an internet but a very stable internet connection for you to be effective, so that you can listen to your trainings, so that you can have your partner meetings with your partners effectively. So you also need to make sure that you can test your internet speed to see which is better for you, right? So what else do you need when working remotely, or how can we expatiate on this? First of all, you need to create your own space. Like we mentioned, you need to find a space in your home where you will feel more productive. You should avoid the bed or the couch, simple reasons, because you can always think that you're at home. Whereas remote working, remember, it's not a paid leave, you are actually working, just not in your office space. You should set up a table and a chair. You should make sure the space is comfortable, and obviously you should consider your posture. You should be seated as upright as I am on this call. Why? Because when you're seated that way, you have to be focused on what you have to carry out. What are then the physical equipment that you may need? You will need your phone, you will need a computer, and you will need a notebook. It's true that we have a lot of apps today that can facilitate what a notebook can come and do, but it's always very important for you to have a notebook, okay? For you to be able to write some things, write some points that you think you might forget, so you can always eventually come back to them. What do you need is stable power. This is very, very, very important because to be productive, you have to make sure that all your devices are always connected. If you live in a country like mine, right? Countries that are developing, because we call them third world countries, it's not going to be easy. But I want to thank our electricity provider because they try to tell us, to inform us that okay, for 5 days they would we would not be having electricity in the main provinces in the country. They'll tell you some particular as a student not really respecting it, but at least they're going to inform you. So for that, you should make sure that you really have a generating set that is working. You should think about power solar devices so that you can always have your devices running. It would not be good that you miss a very important training because you do not have internet. You should think about other options like inverters that are equally going to help you conserve power banks for your devices. So these are some elements that you must take into consideration. So you should find sufficient internet connections. So amongst the basic, for working remotely is your internet. So you should always choose the right internet service provider. Consider having a substitute, find the right router, plug into Wi-Fi, test and connect internet speeds. Now, what may be the challenges that you would have when you're working remotely? What may be the challenges that you would have when you are working remotely? So, hi John, welcome. Can anybody have an answer to that? What would be the challenges you'd face when working remotely? You may, first of all, feel very lonely, lack of social interaction, especially if you're working from home. The second point is self discipline. To be very honest, remote working demands a lot. You need to be very conscious, you need to be time conscious and time sensitive. You need to think about the fact that okay, work will demand on you, so you have to be conscious about all this. Remote working too does not have employee benefits because you're not in an office setting. So if there's a cake day, you would not have the cake day. Okay, and sometimes very hard to switch off. Personally, I work sometimes on weekends. It's very true. You'd be like, oh, maybe if I was unable to come right now, maybe I could just open my laptop on one or two things, and then, or maybe you may be watching a movie and you have an idea. Oh, let me just do this research on this. So it's actually very hard to switch up, and you equally may be missing out. But the good thing is, all these challenges equally have benefits. So some of the benefits are flexibility. First of all, because you have the latitude to decide when you're working, when you're not working. You don't commit, and this is a very good advantage. You don't commit when working remotely. You have time with your family, okay? You have less distractions because you are very focused, high morale. Why? Because you're boosted, you're working in the way you want, you're flexible about your time. So you enjoy the way you are working. So what now are the benefits for businesses to have remote workers? First of all, there is reduced overhead costs because sometimes when you're paying your employees, you have to think about how to transport themselves. There's greater productivity because there is high morale. So if there is high morale, the employee is more productive. There's access to a wider pool of talent, and there is greater employee retention. So these are benefits for businesses to have remote workers. And now we're going to stop here and listen to the first point of questions. So what did we just cover? The very first point is we defined remote working. We talked about what challenges can it be when we're working remotely. We talked about the benefits, but before that, we equally mentioned the various tools that you will need, the various places that you will need to work remotely. So please let us know if you have any questions so far. Meanwhile, a very warm welcome to everybody joining us right now. Welcome Rita, welcome everybody that hasn't yet introduced his or herself on the call. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So do you have any questions so far? Do you have any questions so far? Please. Any questions so far? Okay, while you drop your questions, we are going to move to the second part. While you're dropping, we're going to be moving to the second part. And here we'll be looking at how you can build a productive work environment. So the first point was setting up a remote work office. Now is building a productive work environment. Okay. So, why is your work environment important? Simply because the quality of your workspace is vital to productivity. The area where you're working contributes if you effectively carry out your task or not. So, it's very important that you designate an area. Secondly, you find the right chair for you. Three, you get a filing system to organize your life. So, what do you need to know? That 40% decrease in productivity is due to workspace distractions and equally 20% increase in errors. So, if your workspace is not organized, your productivity is already decreased by 40% and it's 27% certain that you're going to make mistakes. So you see that it's important for you to have a dedicated workspace, a well designated area so that you are productive and then you minimize mistakes. Now, how then do you minimize distractions in your workspace? How would you minimize distractions in your workspace? The very first thing is you need to know when you need to let others know when you are working. And this is much more important for people like us that can be working in a home setting. It's very important that people understand that at this particular point in time, they are your working hours. This would minimize maybe them coming to check on you to ask you one or two things, and this will permit you to focus on the tasks that you're having at hand. The second point that you need to consider when you're working remotely is that you need to do one thing at a time. I know that as business owners, especially small businesses that are trying to come up, you may find yourself having 1,001 things to do at the same point, which could be so stressful sometimes. But then you need to understand that you have to do one thing at a time, because if you're doing one thing at a time, then you're minimizing the risk of mistakes. And if you're minimizing mistakes, you know that you'll be focused on one thing. When you finish with this point, you're going to come back to the others thereafter. What else do you need to avoid? You need to avoid TV and household distractions. You need to make sure that once you're working, after you've told others that you're working, even you yourself, you need to have the discipline to understand that it's work hours. So everything that is TV, household distraction, cleaning or whatever, you need to put that aside for a bit and focus on the work that you're supposed to be doing. You should put away pets, and equally, the last point is you take regular breaks. If you take regular breaks, you're going to reduce, the amount of distractions that you may need, because break time is a moment when you're aerating your brain. You're telling your brain, okay, now we can pause for a year and then we're going to continue later on. So you should take regular breaks, but when we're saying take regular breaks, it does not mean that you should take regular 1 hour breaks. No, it's frequent 10 to 15 minutes breaks where you have the possibility to free your mind and then come back to your work thereafter. Okay, so I want to thank Rita, Adasa, Christopher, and everybody that is saying that there is no question. Thank you all for being so focused. Meanwhile, if any question comes up, make sure that you drop them. Hi Umaru, if let me say bonjour. And like Barry say, oui, il y a des formations français disponibles, but you have to, mais tu vas devoir te rapprocher de nous. Après cette session, tu vas te rapprocher de Impactor pour avoir ça. D'accord? Tu vas te rapprocher de Impactor pour avoir ces sessions. Okay, now I hope we've all understood the steps that we need to take to minimize the distractions. Let others know your working hours, do one thing at a time, avoid TV and household distractions. move forward. Now let us move forward. Now let us move forward. How can you improve productivity within teams? Okay, first of all, you need to use project management tools, and remote team members need to be able to plan and collaborate on commitments, deliverables, and tasks. There's also a need for you to be able to track the workflow from start to finish. So, what are the various points that you need to think of for you to properly handle the project management within teams? First of all, you need to establish vision and deliverables. Excuse me, the second point is you need to establish logistics for team communication, promote visibility and transparency for all work, track the quality and status of project, identify bottlenecks and address them. Okay? Now, another statistic that you should know is that 70% of workplace mistakes are due to poor communication. So, for you to have a productive work environment, you should equally check how effectively you can communicate. So, what are some general communication tools that can be effective for businesses online and for remote workers? We have Google Hangouts, HubSpot, Slack, Gmail. Why so? Strong communication is actually very integral to a business success. So you need to make sure that for formal communication you have a channel. For informal communication you have a channel. So if you're thinking about how to talk formally with your business partners, with your clients, email is most adequate. Now if you want to talk in instantly, maybe with your client, you're trying to follow up a complaint that was made, you should think about instant messaging platforms, Hangouts, WhatsApp. Okay, if you're thinking about collaboration tools, it should be instant, but it should be work inclined, and you should be able to leave a document there at the point, and Slack is a very great option, right? So what are some rules that you can set up for you to communicate effectively? First of all, communicate clearly. Say what you have and say it out clearly. The second point, you should think about the type of message and the context. The third point is you need to respond promptly. Okay? Now, the fourth point is you set and role model these guidelines. So you should be the role model of communicating clearly. You should think about the message and the content. So you as a business owner with your partners need to make sure that for the work to be smoothly, you communicate clearly, you think about the type of message and the context, you respond promptly, you set and role model the guidelines. So once you've done all these three things, you need to be the role model for them to be effective. Okay? Now, Beryl is doing a very great work, right? Posting in some links. So feel free to take those links and keep them aside. And at the end of the session, you look at all those links. Now, on the while we're still talking about communication, you also need to know that video meetings and calls are very great tools for communication. And some of those tools that we have, that's Meet, that's Zoom, that's Teams, Skype, and WhatsApp. So video meetings and calls generally enable teams to communicate and collaborate in real time. You need to connect teams working remotely via the video meetings. It actually improves levels of communication because you guys can see, you can exchange. Okay, there's no maybe intention and perception. You people are talking and exchanging, so it's a very encouraging means of communication, and it equally boosts collaboration. Some key points that you need to think about when working remotely is that you have to always make sure that you try to recreate communication in person. So video meetings, instant communication tools, and more of these things that permit you to actually recreate these communications in person. Now let's talk about Google Meet. You can actually keep your team connected with these Enterprise-grade video conferencing built on Google's robust and secure global infrastructure, which is Google Meet. Google Meet is actually very interesting because you have the free, you have the paid version, and there's a lot of things that you can do on the free version. You harness the power of digital whiteboard. You can break out rooms. Google Meet is a very awesome tool. Then we have Zoom, which can actually be downloaded on your computer or on your mobile device. Very advantageous. You can even request a demo of how you can use Zoom. So you can equally use Zoom either to host a meeting or to join a meeting. And you can actually join on Zoom. Up to 100 people can join online in the free model. What else do you need to know about Zoom is that you can record your meeting. Very great advantage. So Microsoft Teams is equally a very great application that enables businesses to collaborate and communicate with team members across the world. So you create teams and channels to organize your department. You utilize the chat and video call functions to boost communication, and you can share and collaborate with ease. So Teams actually permits you to have teams separately, well channeled and organized for you to work efficiently, right? Skype was like the precursor as far as video conferencing, applications are all necessary. So you can actually have an immersive full screen video, you can send chat invites to anyone, and you can blur your background. One thing I'm going to tell you is Skype had a very, very robust platform, and I think it's still so up to date. So if you're looking for a third or fourth option, Skype should always be one. So how do you run effective meetings? First of all, it's important that you set agendas. You guys plan the meeting. When should it happen? How should it happen? The time, so that everybody is informed well ahead of time. The second point is you consider your tone of voice, and you should encourage the use of cameras during the meeting, and you need to ensure that you are timely. What are some video conferencing etiquettes? Okay, the various things that you need to do for the meetings to be very effective. Make sure that you prepare yourself, dress appropriately, right? Just like I am. Consider your lighting, consider your background, and consider your audio, because people need to get you very clearly throughout the training. Okay, so what are some top tips for collaborating effectively? Equip your team with the right tools, make project management easier, make document sharing easy and accessible. And I'm sure you learned a lot about document sharing when we're talking about implementing Google Workspace, right? So ensure that there's collaboration within departments and prioritize company cultures. So these are some of the points that you should consider when making sure that collaboration is effective. So when you're building your work environment, after you've let people know about your working hours, you've thought about your space, you've thought about the various tools that you can use to communicate effectively, you too should think about effective collaborations. So what are final top tips for productivity? Okay, one, always over communicate. Communicate with your team regularly and keep them in the know. Try and find ways to over excessive communication. The second point is you need to be disciplined. This is a prerequisite for working remotely. So is it for collaboration. Okay? Remember, remote working is not a vacation, nor paid leave. Have your tools ready for work. Okay, and find your booster and make sure that you use it. So make sure you think of what gets you energized for the day. It could be sports, it could be affirmations, it could be music. Make sure that you find your booster and use it so that you have a very great day. Okay, now we would stop here for the second pause of questions. We are going to stop here for the second part of questions. So far, do we have any more questions? Any more questions concerning how to build your productive work environment, concerning the top tips required for productivity, for collaboration? If you have any more questions, please feel free to drop them. Okay. Well, oh, thank you, Alois. Thank you, Rita. Please do want to also comment about the training. Silence doesn't always mean consent. You need to make sure that everything is smooth. So how's the training? Okay. By the way, Alois, I would recommend Google Meet and Zoom. Google Meet and Zoom. Because these are the two I use the most and I am quite satisfied. So Google Meet and Zoom are my recommendations. Thank you, Patrice. Now, this is the third part of today's session. We're talking about managing and maintaining your well-being. And here I have a question. I have a question for you. Thank you, Rita. I have a question for you. Why is it important to manage your well-being? According to all of you on the call, why is it important to manage your well-being? And I expect all of us to please give a comment. Why is it important to manage your well-being? I expect everybody to please give an answer. Why is it important to manage your well-being? Why is it important to manage your well-being? Rita, Alois, Patrice, Ousmane, Christopher, it's Umaro actually, John, Adassa, Musili. Why do you think it's important to manage your well-being? To be very honest with you, I'm not going to move from here till I receive at least an answer. No comments. No. You know why it is important. At least you have an idea now. Please share. Don't be shy. If it's shyness, please don't shy. Don't be shy. It's just us. Why do you think it's important to manage your well-being? Exactly. I knew that we are all brilliant. Alois, I love your response. So that you are in the right state mentally to carry out your responsibilities. Nice. Rita for better performance and productivity. Very, very adequate, nice, interesting. You see, I knew we all had very interesting responses to give. I am still waiting for the others. Please do not say that I've given your answer. I know you still have another answer. So why is it important to manage your well-being? Why is it important to manage your well-being? Any other response? But already thank you so much, Alois and Rita, for these great responses. You all, have gotten it. The fact is, if you're not okay, if your well-being is not managed, who carry out the work? Who carry out the work? Because you need to be in the right frame, in right shape for you to be productive, like Rita said, and for you to actually take up your responsibilities, like Aloy said. Well-being is crucial, especially when you're working online. Technology these technological devices, right? First of all, have like some effects on us human beings. Even if they're not direct, indirectly, you have um, impacts or issues that are brought, by the devices. And normally, when you're working online, there's some pressure. When you're working as a whole, there's a lot of pressure. So for you to be able to manage yourself, the clients, the employees effectively, you need to watch out for your well-being, right? So first point, it impacts your overall health. Managing your well-being is important because it impacts your overall health. If you are well, you are healthy, right? Like Victor said, it leads to a greater productivity. If you are healthy, you are efficient and you are effective in every single task that you're carrying out. Also, because it increases your resilience. Very, very important. It increases your resilience. And lastly, it boosts your morale and levels of happiness. So managing well-being does not only affect, one part of your life, it affects every part of your life, because if you're resilient, you can work longer. If you are happy, obviously your lifespan is longer. So it's very important that you have this management on point, right? Very, very important that you manage your well-being. So what then can you do to manage your well-being? Since I know we have a lot of answers to give, but then you don't want me to go forward. First of all, you should avoid overworking and take irregular breaks. Avoid overworking and take regular breaks. So you can set up reminder to take breaks. Be clear with your team when you are leaving. Turn off your notifications when you are on a break. Schedule in an activity like taking a walk, riding a bike, or going to the gym at the end of the day. Okay, I'm going to share with you guys a little tip. Gym for me is at the beginning because it helps me to be active in the day. But you can do that at the end of the day. Your break time can be gymming, can be bike riding, can be walking, it could be baking, it could be every activity that helps you to free your mind. When you are on your break and you really need a quiet time, turn off your notification. Equally be clear with your theme, or when you're leaving, set up reminders to take breaks. So, what is the other thing that you need to think about when working remotely and managing well-being? You need to think, or you need to be ready for what we call the cultural shift. So, to help you embrace the shift, consider the following: trust your overall performance, rethink the concept of work, understand your commitment, and be patient. Be patient with yourself, because in the cultural shift, in the fact that you're shifting from one sphere to the other, it might sometimes be difficult for you to adapt, right? So, how do you manage your overall well being? You need to exercise regularly, you need to view mental health as seriously as physical health. It's very important. People really, really break down sometimes. You need to view mental health as important as physical health. You need to check in with your manager or team regularly. You need to separate your professional and your personal lives, and do well to organize in-person social meetups, because it permits you to free your mind once in a while, and then for you to be able to carry out your task effectively. Okay? Nice. I'm happy you're good, Christopher. Okay, thank you for that comment too that you just dropped. I hope we've all taken note of all the links that have been dropped from the free shop, the shop at small businesses directory that Beryl has been dropping, and the one that Rachel spoke about. She'll be talking about it again at the end of this session. So take into consideration all these links and all these announcements that are being made for you in the comment section. While we are at it, do well to fill in the attendance form. To what? Fill in the attendance form. It's very important for you to have your certificates. Fill in the attendance form. Now we are going to stop here for the last pause of questions, answers, comments, any point. So if you have a question, if you have a comment to make, please feel free to drop it while you're filling in the attendance form. Any question, any comment, please feel free to drop it. Please ensure that you actually put in the correct name as you want it to appear on your certificate. Remember, the attendance form is a means for you to have your certificate. So do well to actually fill in your right name, your correct name, as you would like it to appear on your certificate. So, do we have any more questions? Any more questions? Do we have any questions concerning managing your well-being? Do we have any questions concerning building a productive work environment or setting up a remote office? Do we have any questions concerning our today's session? Any questions, please? D'accord, merci beaucoup, Patrice. Patrice, il y a un email qui a été posté dans le chat pr@impacta.org. Tu peux te rapprocher de nous pour ample explication et pour d'autres formations aussi en français. So Patrice actually said that everything is clear for him and were expatiated for him. So I told him he can actually, get to pr@impacthard.org if he wants more training in French, and you also can do that. So do we have any other questions? Patrick he's the only person that said he's good. Christopher, are you good? Hadassah, are you good? Alois, are you good? Rita, what about you? Are you good? Who else? I'm forgetting all these names. Musili, Adassa, Diana, we are good? Okay. Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Barry. I dropped the email so it's closer to you all for now. Now, concerning all the other trainings, how has it been? For those that have been in the 8 sessions, how has it been so far? Okay? Okay, Rita and Alois are all good. Thank you so much, everybody. So what are your next steps? You can learn more with learndigital.google.com/digital courses/digital skills/courses. Very interesting platforms. You can self-learn. You can actually grow your skills on a lot of points, right? Now, this is the announcement you've been waiting for. I know I said this in the beginning, but it's also important that you know that Google is offering a free bootcamp, right? So if you're owning your small business and you want to take it to another level, please do well to sign up for the Hustle Academy bootcamp. Trust me, you will learn a lot. It's a very awesome training and it's available for everybody. Okay? Now, you can find us on social media like Facebook, facebook.com/digitalskills for Africa, twitter.com/digitalskillsaf, instagram.com/digitalskillsaf. You can equally find Impact Her on all these social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we equally are on LinkedIn. You can get to us at pr@impacthard.org if you have any more questions, if you want another type of training, if you have any more worries. Now, before we say thank you, I would equally remind everybody to please fill in the attendance form. Very important for you to have your certificate. You can always have the recording of this session on our YouTube channel, so you can subscribe, okay, so you don't miss any of the training. right? You can subscribe so you don't miss any of the trainings. If you're a small business and you're thinking, oh, maybe I need a digital marketing strategy, I need to see how it can help me, there's a link that Barry has dropped. If you don't have a website yet, we are equally able to give you support in that line. We can help you build a free website. Just make sure that you fill in the link, right? Very important now. So thank you so much, everybody, for being on today's session. Thank you so much for being here, Saints. Thank you, Biashara Africa, for the partnership. It has been awesome. Thanks so much all for your contributions and your reactivity. And before we leave the call, I'm going to bring Rachel up because she has some announcements for us all.
Thank you, Lorraine. That was great. Great insights right there. I think most of us will have to rewatch it. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And thanks, Beryl, for being the best moderator. I would like to remind our participants that if you've not signed for Google My Business Profile, Beryl will drop the link on the chat. Please ensure that your business is mapped on Google. We have a partnership at Biashara Africa with Google to ensure that small businesses can also be found on Google Search and Google Maps. So it's good for your business and it's free. So you just need to complete the form and we will support you. Now, next trainings from Wednesday, we'll be discussing about meta platforms. That's WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook. We'll have 3 sessions this Wednesday and next week on Monday and Wednesday. And the 3 sessions will take 2 hours, and like this one, because there's a lot to learn. And we'll be doing this in partnership with World International and Meta as well. So great sessions to attend. If you're selling on WhatsApp, Instagram, or Facebook, this is a must to attend. We'll also be sharing information via WhatsApp and emails as well. So please, from Wednesday, we are meeting for 2 hours from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Please take note of that, but we will circulate information around the same. Now, in December, we have another support program for small businesses called Shop a Small Business. And Beryl has been posting information around that. This is free for small businesses to participate. And we support small businesses by encouraging buyers and consumers to shop from them, either online or to shop from a small business or small businesses within their locality. So please ensure that you are mapped on our Shop a Small Business directory. Last year, when we started the initiative, we didn't map, and we had a lot of requests from buyers asking, why don't you map them? And then I can come to the directory and pick the products I want, then just shop. So we are just making it easier for buyers. So if you have an existing business, please fill the form. The same will be shared. We'll also share it on WhatsApp and email as well. Ensure that before 1st of December, you're already mapped on the directory. We'll be doing this campaign, and you'll find this in various platforms just to support you to grow your business. So thank you so much, everyone who has attended. Keep encouraging your friends to attend as well. We are stronger together and we win together. And to Impact Our Team, thank you so much for facilitating 8th session. You've been very consistent. Lorraine, great facilitator. And Beryl, you've been very supportive and a good facilitator as well. We really celebrate you. And next year, we'll definitely have a number of programs to run together. So thank you so much, everyone. To have a great evening and a warm one. Hopefully it's raining where I am. I don't know whether it's raining where you are, and a great week. So thank you so much, and bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Now, It's very sunny in my country, and it's really been an awesome moment. Please do well to put into application everything that you learned. It was not just journalism that we've been doing when I informing you guys. Well, giving you stuff so that you can apply, because we know it's going to be helpful for your business. And now, moving forward, do well to have a great week. Do well to take part in all the other trainings, and we hope it's going to be exceptional for all of you. Till when next we meet again, stay very well and stay very safe. Bye bye, and have a very great evening.